This video explains how to add a circle to a plot in the R programming language. So without too much talk, let's dive into the R code. In this video I will show you two examples, and both of these examples are based on the data frame that we can create with lines 2 to 4 of the code. So if you run these lines of code, you can see at the top right of RStudio that a new data set is appearing, which is called data. And we can print the first 6 rows of this data set to the bottom in the RStudio console by running line 5 of the code. And then you can see that our data frame contains 2 columns which are called X and Y. And both of these columns contain numeric values. Now if we want to draw a plot of these data, then we can apply the plot function of the basic installation of the R programming language, as you can see in line 7 of the code. And within this function I'm specifying the 2 data frame columns that I want to draw in our plot. So if you run line 7 of the code, you can see at the bottom right that a scatter plot has been created which contains all the data points in our data. Now let's assume that we want to add a circle to this plot. Then we can apply the functions of the plotrix package, and for this we first need to install and load the plotrix package, as you can see in lines 9 and 10 of the code. I have installed this package already, so for that reason I'm just going to load it with line 10 of the code. And after running this line of code, we can use the draw.circle function to add a circle to our plot. So in line 12, I'm once again creating our plot. We have done that already, so this line could be skipped. And then in line 13 of the code, I'm using the draw.circle function. And within this function, I'm specifying the positions of our circle on the X and Y axis. So in this case, I want to draw our circle at the X and Y axis positions 0. And I'm specifying the size of our circle. So if you run line 13 of the code, you can see at the bottom right that our plot is updated. And as you can see, we have added a circle to our plot. In this first example, I have explained how to draw a scatter plot with a circle using base R and the plotrix package. However, it's also possible to draw a ggplot2 plot with circles, and this is what I want to show you in the next example, starting in line 15 of the code. So as a first step, we first need to install and load the ggplot2 package, as you can see in lines 15 and 16 of the code. I have installed the package already, so for that reason I'm just going to load it with line 16 of the code. And then we can draw a scatter plot based on our data using the ggplot and geonPoint functions, as you can see in lines 18 and 19. So if you are running these lines of code, you can see at the bottom right that a new scatter plot is created, which shows our data points in a ggplot2 scatter plot. Now, if we want to add circles to this plot, we also need to install and load the ggforce package, as you can see in lines 21 and 22 of the code. I have installed this package as well, so for that reason I'm just going to load it with line 22. And after running this line of code, we also need to create a data frame that contains the parameters for our circles. So in this case, I once again want to create a circle which is positioned at the X and Y axis positions 0 and with a radius of 1. So if you run lines 24 to 26 of the code, a new data frame is created, and we can print this data frame to the bottom in the RStudio console by running line 27 of the code. And then you can see that our data frame contains 1 line, and this line corresponds to the matrix of our first circle that we want to add to our ggplot2 plot. Now in the next step, we can use the ggplot function and the geonPoint functions once again to draw our scatter plot. And then we can add to this the geoCircle function that is provided by the ggforce package. And within this function, we need to specify our data circle object that we have created before. And we need to specify the column names of the data circle data object. So if you run lines 29 to 31 of the code, you can see at the bottom right that a new circle is drawn to our ggplot2 scatter plot. Now we can use the same functions to create multiple circles in our plot, as I'm going to show you in the next lines of code. So first we need to create a new data frame, which once again contains the matrix of our circles that we want to draw. So if you run these lines of code, another data frame is created which is called data.circle2. And we can print this data frame to the RStudio console by running line 36 of the code. And then you can see that we have created a data frame containing 5 rows. And each of these rows corresponds to the parameters of one of our circles that we are going to draw to our ggplot2 scatter plot in the next step. So in lines 38 and 39, I'm once again drawing our scatter plot. And as in the previous example, I'm then adding the geom_circle function. And the only difference compared to the previous example is that I'm specifying our data frame data_circle2, which contains the parameters of multiple circles. So if you run lines 38 to 40 of the code, you can see that our plot is created once again. So after running these lines of code, a new plot is created at the bottom right. And as you can see, this plot contains multiple circles. And in addition to that, you can also see that we have drawn our circles with different colors. We have specified that by using the color argument within the aesthetics of the geom_circle function. And you can also see that a legend was added on the right side of the plot, which is corresponding to the colors of our circles. That's all I wanted to explain in this video. In case you want to learn more on this topic, you may check out my homepage statisticsglobe.com, because on my homepage I have recently published a tutorial in which I'm explaining the content of this video in some more detail. I will put a link to this tutorial into the description of the video so you can find it there. If you have liked this video or if you have any questions, let me know in the comments section below. I'll try to respond to all comments as soon as I can. Furthermore, make sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel to get notified about future video releases. I have already published about 500 videos on this channel and I'm releasing new videos on a daily basis. Thanks a lot for watching. See you in the next video.